Welcome back to Arkansas Bigfoot, everybody. Glad y'all joined us today. I need you to spit that chewing gum out and sit up straight in your chair and pay attention. Just pretend you're waiting on the mailman to bring that stimulus check for you. I know a lot of you that watched the video where we put the rubber ball out with the GPS tracker in it have been anxious to see what has transpired over the last few days with it. And initially I thought it was probably going to end up being a fail because it was Thursday evening when we came out with it and put it out. And it sat there all night, Friday, Saturday, all day Sunday, and when I checked the locator, nothing had changed on it. It was the same as it had been. I stayed up late Sunday night watching documentaries and videos, and I checked it right before I went to bed. And it had moved about 400 yards, 420 yards out that way through the woods, out over Skunk Butt Island, back into that thick, woolly swamp area. So I thought that was where we were going to be headed to this morning to go check it all out. But when I got up again, checked the locator on it, it had moved back the opposite direction and had came back up past where we left it in this gifting tree, and now it's telling me that it's over in that direction about, I don't know, 120 yards more or less. But we're gonna go over there in just a minute and check it all out, and I want to look the tree over and make sure that everything is as it's supposed to be as far as, you know, the treats and all that. I couldn't imagine that they knocked that chip out of the ball that it would still be active. And you just lost your marbles. But I was concerned after I saw it move back into that swamp area that it might get pulled out or knocked out and fall into the water, and that would pretty much kill all of the experiment. But it's held in, so we will get after it here in just a minute. Figure out a good way for you to get down there. Well, it's definitely not there.
So these are back in an X. They keep changing different glyphs. I don't know if that depends on which one's hitting the tree. I don't know. That could have fallen naturally. Big old piece of bark. And this had been in a K, and it's in an A, which is unusual. Another piece of moss. I was trying to see if there was a place that would have fallen off of these.
Yeah, I don't really see any moss itself right here on any of this stuff, but I had pinned the location when it was out there Sunday night, and we'll check it out later, but it was right straight back through that area, probably good 420 yards, give or take, is where it showed it.
There's a big flat spot on the other side of the box there. I don't know if that might be knuckles or what that is. Okay, get this one set up. It'll take a minute. Apples, peanut butter, and popcorn, their favorite so far.
I hope the video picture turns out okay. I changed the settings on it right before we came out into the woods so it wouldn't get so much of the sunlight glare coming through the treetops and blinding you where you're trying to see into the woods, but we won't know till we get it uploaded. One of the things that was brought up in the comments, Marilyn had asked why there wasn't very much activity in the way of deer and squirrels and stuff like that out here, and that's a very good question to bring up. Before all of this started, just about any given day you could walk back here and kick out a group of does or a buck, or you know, they'd be in groups of 3 and 5 and sometimes more than that, and it wasn't hard at all to, you know, hear the turkey out here. And over the course of the past 6 months, it's pretty much vanished in that regard.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what's on the menu.
It's pretty quiet today too.
Well, that locator is showing it off over in here somewhere. So find you a place where you can step across the creek, and let me turn this thing back on. Obviously, we don't have the ability like Sasquatch to walk straight through the trees, to walk a straight line, so we'll have to zigzag our way. One of the things that's kind of ironic now that it's off in this direction, back, what, 2 or 3 months ago when we brought that white rubber ball out, it disappeared for a while, and then we found it laying up through here.
Just on the other side of this arch, right?
Just
right
where
in front
this
of us.
arch is. It was laying up in there. You want to, it's showing out toward the back end of that pond area. Back in all that thick, swampy muck. About the direction I'm pointing the camera, but we got to walk around the trees to get to it, so.
Push that sapling down.
Well, this usually, you can tell by looking at the ground, stays underwater a lot of the year, and it's always a muddy, swampy mess back here, but a little bit drier right now, which is good because somebody forgot to bring their boots with them out here.
Bust me out. I'm sorry. Maybe really quick to notice if I forget my boots. Just gotta watch for snakes.
Stand here for a second, look at it. Pretty much straightforward is what it's saying. About another 40 yards.
We get a lot of noises out of this side, but we haven't caught them yet.
Well, this is where the rock clacking was, and get a lot of noise off of the backside of this pond different times of night.
Looks like a Big Daddy break. It's hard for me to see Big Daddy taking the big ball, but anything's possible.
Well, I seriously doubt that it's the big guy. It's probably Junior.
Or maybe a little bit.
We're almost on it somewhere right in here.
Here's that big ground nest.
Not quite.
Left
Showing about 15 yards.
feet.
It says we're on top of it. I don't know how close these things are in way of feet, inches, or yards, but
I just hope we didn't pull that out of the ball.
it says that we're right here on top of it someplace.
That's it. Some more. Lord, I hope they didn't take that chip out.
There's an old drink bottle. The sun's right in my face.
I think we might. Hang on. We have a winner. So, lots of things going on over here.
Well, there it is, guys.
It's got
Turn this thing off real quick.
little poke marks. Not sure how they carried it, if they carried it with their teeth or... It's still in there. Guess they couldn't get their big fingers in there to get it. So,
All this stuff was...
we've been looking for that in the blue blanket. There's the shoe. I wish I could remember the name. That's been 2.5 months ago.
All that stuff was originally up by that campsite, and then it got dragged to that background nest. I haven't seen that cable in 4 months, 3 months, something.
It was, the last time we saw it was back by that second gifting tree. And this, okay, so I had put the blue marble in the sandbox again, just thinking the young one might like it. We have a feather, crow feather, imagine that.
Do you hear one today?
No. Are we making peace with the crows? And then this old spam can was with...
It was with all that stuff, all that stuff around the campsite. But look at this. You can see one of them's been sitting on the ground there. That's all clear and mashed flat. And
some kind of mark. It almost looks like a small foot, but I'm not sure.
but what a place to sit and hide and watch and
There's a bigger foot right here.
pick,
Get my head out of the way.
pick grubs out of that dead tree log. There's Al. Did you hear?
Uh-huh.
There's the dog. Make up your mind. Are you an owl or a dog today?
A lot of little feet behind you.
But look at all this around the base of that big tree back there.
Watch for snakes.
This is a perfect hideout.
It's all been picked apart.
But all around that tree over there to your left, if you wanted to sit with your back to something to kill your silhouette where nobody could see you, that would be the one.
Pretty idea.
I think you're kind of walking in some footprints there where you're standing. Right, it's perfect. We don't ever come into this section. I'm going to try to zoom through the bushes and let them see right there is the very back end of the pond. And all this is just a tangled mess of thorn bushes and mud and muck. And
we've heard rocks, and we've heard, or rock clacking I should say, and we've heard, I would say it would be smaller limbs tapping together, because they weren't as loud as wood knobs, but we haven't been able to catch them on recorder yet, so except for the rock throwing that night.
It's got a trail headed out that way. It's an ideal place to hide.
That dirt's all fresh too.
Yeah, it's all tore up. And there's that big tree to your right that's got a big hollowed out spot in it where something could sit. And there's a trail going right there straight to the pond. So, I mean, it's got food, got water, got a hideout, got stuff to eat and drink. And
I was looking at the visual when we come walking through.
This is a gnarly old man up here. Look at this.
It's awesome. I'd love to get right up in and around this, but I know that the ticks are going to be fierce in the shade.
That side of it looks like it's been pressed down, like one of them's been laying there sleeping. Alright, so we need to think about this for just a second, because I don't want to take the ball. That's too obvious that we've been back here messing around in these hideouts.
Well, not just that, but anytime you take something that's deemed theirs, it seems to create a problem.
But I want to use that chip. Now that we found this, I'm thinking about going out in that brush field and try to find a big handful of cockleburs or something to make a cluster to put that chip in, and try to make a hair trap of some kind where it'll stick to them when they sit and lean up against this.
We might be able to get that out of there. Then they're pretty tight.
It's been fascinated with that cable all winter long. It just moves around kind of like that blue blanket. I don't know if it's just
spot right here,
because it's shiny or what, but
I'd call that knuckles. It's not a foot. You want this?
Try to pull that chip out of there in that little bag thing. The tape didn't make it. The tape has gone off of it, but
it looks like they've been pulling on it.
Yeah, I'm surprised the battery still stayed intact and was still working after 4 days, but
okay. I'm coming up. It's damp too, like moist. I'm surprised.
That's what I was afraid of when it was showing it back there in that swamp, that it would come out while they were in the water and that'd be the end of it.
Ew, if they carried it in their mouth.
I don't
Sasquatch spit? No.
Well, maybe he had the whole ball in his mouth chewing on it.
Well, the way he drove reminds me of the bulldogs.
Alright, so we got this hideout hole here. Try to position it for everybody. And the pond right through that brush there. We found that blue blanket a month or so ago, right straight up through that tangled mess. Over here is that Union Jack limb structure that we use for a gifting area. And straight through that direction, I mean, it's not very far of a walk. You can be right up there in the backyard and hear and see everything going on.
Checking for bugs.
Well, quit eating my spiders. I'm saving them. I'm going to make a little circus rodeo out of them or something.
Okay. You can have them.
I'm thinking those are some footprints through those leaves there.
Okay.
That goes right up to that limb structure. Well, that's phase one of the rubber ball saga, so we're gonna try a different plan with it here. I think that is what I'm gonna try to do if I can find enough of them over there in that scrub brush. Find some old cockleburs, stick tack kind of things, and make a big wad of them and put that inside of it. See if we can't put that against that log over there, or one of these logs where we've seen them used for sitting up against. And that's something else that probably should make mention of here so you'll understand what we're talking about. There's some places out and around the woods here that we've found, especially back there by that last gifting tree. There's one tree in particular where they sit or lean up against it, and it just looks like it's been slathered with old oily grease. It's just kind of raunchy, but figure out a way to, a back scratching tree or something, but figure out a way to get something to maybe stick to that hair. And
here we go again. So did you want to head back toward there, or?
Yeah, I think we'll go back toward that back end right now and check it all out and see. All right guys, we will catch you on the next phase. Thanks.